like Mr. Lee has exhausted his strength to accelerate the evolution development of the miniaturized world. Mr. Lee has opened time acceleration 100,000 times. Mr. Lee has spent quite a lot of time. Now there are only 2,134 years left in his lifespan, that is, he has spent over 100,000 years, old Tang thought. Mr. Lee uses a large amount of time to accelerate the speed of evolution of the world. Is it exhausting? Mr. Lee continued. But I think of a win-win approach. Humans in the miniaturized world have started on the right path of civilization development. Wait a little longer. Can they sign a contract with me? Do you have any measures to put time trading concepts into their genes? Like they fear darkness, fear fire, then my contract is also like that, developed from within, born as living in fear. His intention is to trade time and become their god. Indeed, by then, each person only contributes a little lifespan, which is also a granary of time, with astonishing profits in the New World number 1. The weather is hot and sultry, the land is dry without a drop of water. The natives want to ask for some water from the gods, and the god here is Mr. Lee. Who else could it be? An individual is being tied up. This is considered a sacrifice. The tribal chief begins to pray, "Oh God, please forgive our sins. Please let it rain. We will offer sacrifices and pray for your grace." Since living for the divine is an honor, everyone. They all receive the grace of the divine from that. The old man took out a stone knife, intending to skewer the sacrifice when Mr. Lee's flying saucer appeared. These people saw the strange object and considered it a god and immediately prayed, "Please let it rain on us, we will volunteer to offer up slaves as sacrifices." Mr. Lee on this side saw this scene and thought to himself, "Originally I wanted to try the lifespan of this sacrifice, but this sacrifice seems too calm, it makes me a little interested, so okay, I'll accept it." After that, the sacrifice was lifted by the flying saucer at a very fast speed, making them bow their heads in fear. After waking up, the sacrifice found himself trapped in a test tube. At this time, Mr. Lee's voice echoed. "Your courage is really great. No matter what, you can't scare you, or you can say you are pretending to be calm." The guy was scared and blurted out, "Oh my God, I've only heard legends about angels descending to earth, I can't believe I can see God. I hope that God can remove the drought and save my tribe if possible. Please punish that person who harms people with strict sacrifices. Ordinary people's hearts and revenge must be reported, right? I like you too much. How about this, go all out for what you want. Do you know how to achieve it yourself?" A contract appeared in front of him because Mr. Lee had previously told them to add the function of signing contracts into their memory. "Sign here to become my representative, understand my intentions, right? You will have the ability to hold other people's fate, you will become the first representative under mortals. How about that? Do you have the courage to try it out, mortal?" He reached out his hand and touched his finger on the contract. The contract emitted a dazzling light. This young man is really a player, the brighter he gets, he has to open his eyes wider. On the side of the miniature world there are clouds coming over, those people probably think that it's going to rain from heaven. Before it rains, there must be thunder and lightning, right? The clouds formed a vortex and then shot a lightning bolt down at the old tribal chief's place, causing him to fly far away in smoke. Underneath his figure appeared someone else who came here too, it was none other than the Chosen One. After receiving the power of God, that young man began to herd chickens, saying, "O warriors of the tribe, under the protection of God we need to conquer this continent, and today for young people we are an extremely important day. Starting from today we will become true warriors." Those guys saw that and also cheered. "I have become the representative chosen by the gods, signing a pact with everyone, helping everyone quickly become capable warriors, dedicating their lives to the gods. The gods will bless you with invincibility, so that the gods can witness our growth." Then, the remaining natives also signed contracts, exchanged lives for power after a beam of light struck down, and the surrounding dust was dense. Their bodies became strong, which was the blessing of the gods, helping you quickly transform your body into your mature form. In the future, what is lost is the weak childhood period. Hearing this, they looked at each other in astonishment, then raised their weapons and cheered for the longevity of the gods. O Lord, longevity. At the same time, elsewhere, there was another tribe preparing to fight with the Alak tribe. Today we must completely tear up the weak Alak tribe. Their men will become our snacks, and women will become our reproductive tools. The guys around shouted for tribal longevity. Seeing the strong army of Alak, this guy exclaimed in panic, "What to do? With this quantity, their large number of strong men are all just little boys, right?" The voice of the chosen tribal chief echoed. "All tribes in the surrounding area have been killed by us. There is no support at all, O warriors. Under the witness of the gods, conquer them, take their lives and offer them to the gods." Then they rush into a fierce fight. Watching these scenes made our guy sleepy and yawned. It seems that the war has entered a time-consuming stage. But should I say it's too little time-consuming compared to real-world time? The length of time in a miniature world is naturally also a miniaturized existence. So I don't expect to get a large amount of time at once. I can only wait patiently. At this time, Mr. Lee was surprised so much that there was just a little bit of a war recently, but why did he get so much lifespan? What is this kid waiting for? Now that the lower realm is in an accelerated environment, time can also be said to be. They may not only launch a war but also 10 or several hundred battles. If so, this kid is conquering the entire continent through hundreds of years in a miniature world. The chosen boy has become an old warrior. He has fought for more than 300 years and based on the gift bestowed by God his civilization has surpassed the entire continent. The gods' people offer their lifespan to God and God rewards them with knowledge and seeds. What he received was the rapid growth of warriors and farmers. This allows him to quickly develop his army in a short period of time. Although he became favored by God, his life is also coming to an end. He exclaimed, "Omnipotent human God, do we only have a mere 300 years of life? I used 300 years to turn the tribe into an empire, unifying the 4 continents of the world. I can still do more because I am the child chosen by the gods. I am the Lord of Alak." Then, he took his last breath. At this time, Mr. Lee appeared with a dazzling halo. The descendants saw it and recognized that this was their god. Mr. Lee came to Alak. "Alak, you have done very well, you have completed the task I assigned to you very well. Your death in this way is somewhat consistent with your king status. Next, we should study a bit about the issue of succession." After saying that, Mr. Lee turned back and looked at the 2 younger brothers. The brothers were startled when they heard about the succession. The elder brother thought, "Indeed, once the old king dies, then God will appear. It is indeed because of the succession of the throne, with God's consent, it will have absolute persuasion. I also get rid of a lot of troubles in front of the elders." While the elder brother was happy, the younger brother knelt down and said, "God, my father has declared that I am the only successor to the kingdom of Alak." Mr. Lee seemed very interested when he heard this. "And what about that elder brother?" He thought, "What is this guy talking about?" The younger brother continued, "Although my elder brother has brilliant military exploits, it is actually based on the superiority in numbers of the king's army. My elder brother is bold but not sharp, not good at using tactics. In fact, he is not suitable to inherit my father's throne." Hearing him say that, the elder brother ran over and grabbed his collar and shouted, "You parasitic liar! When did my father say these words? When I used 500 scouts to attack thousands of fortified garrisons, then how is it calculated? Am I not good at using tactics?" Mr. Lee called them to stop. "I don't want to manage family affairs, you guys are also not free to manage. I just kindly remind the 2 princes a little bit. Your empire does not lie in your world, everything lies in my palm. If you guys don't know what's good for you, I will really throw you away. How about that, do you 2 understand?" As he spoke, Mr. Lee transformed 2 contracts. When leaving world number 1, Mr. Lee sat down on a chair and sighed. "Oh, it's dangerous, just a little bit more and it turns into a palace fight story. These people are really troublesome." But the effect of projecting all images this time is really good, very similar to real people there. Having this method will be convenient for us to convey orders to them. "Sir, next time please change your clothes before coming to the office. I am in charge of expenses this week. I just wanted to wear it a little longer." The entire eastern continent is almost the territory of Alak. With the signal of the gods, perhaps his descendants can also expand their territory. "It's never enough," she once told me. Human civilization is a constant struggle for development. Idleness and arrogance only make things stand still. Tang Lao seemed to understand something. He asked, "So what do you want?" Mr. Lee replied, "The son of a hero does not necessarily have to become a hero. I am just looking for a few opponents for them to help them become stronger." 85 calendars according to the gods, the legend of the gods and the heroic king has been known to the entire empire. Countless people are praying for their souls. One day they can go to the land of the gods. Inside, someone came in to report, "Your Highness, King, Your Highness. The Man tribe is attacking and invading." Are the 2 princes confronting them? The Man tribe? How could it be? The whole town echoed with prison sounds, and on the Man tribe side, these people were cheering. "The day we have always dreamed of has finally come. For a long time, the empire of Alak has made us drift everywhere, but today we need to skin these dogs and offer them to the gods." War broke out between 2 tribes. Many warriors' bodies fell down. It was a bloody scene. A young man was lying on the ground. Perhaps this was one of the 2 princes of the Alak kingdom. He was wounded and bleeding. There is also the body of a tall man who was skewered. He is from the Man tribe. That young man must be looking towards his elder brother, who is the king of the Alak tribe, fighting with another big guy, probably the leader of the Man tribe. They were all injured after a fight. The leader of the Man tribe won. Human civilization develops non-stop in opposition and competition. The belief in angels has become a common concept in human subconsciousness, regardless of race or faction. And in their era, the only way to choose believers is competition. The agricultural civilization era is like that, so is the maritime civilization era. People from above world, because they hesitate to intervene in the civilization process, reproductive power has begun to develop rapidly, and then population begins to increase several times, entering a population explosion stage. Now, the population in the miniature world has broken through 2 million. It is estimated that within 6 months the real-world population will quickly reach 3 to 4 million. Based on this speed, the population breakthrough of 10 million is very fast. Hao Lao dozed off and said, "Then there's a problem. Even if there are researchers from outside supplementing supplies, the environment of this world will also peak when population reaches 10 million. Mr. Lee pondered and said, "World 1 develops based on the existing civilization path, under our intervention, but there are still small differences. I believe that one day, they will also produce curiosity about the world outside the sky. So, we provide them with a new exploration environment." Tang Lao asked in shock, "Are you referring to establishing a new world and moving them?" Mr. Lee replied, "Correct, it's time to start building World 2. Du Wei Van walked and said, "Sir, you just mentioned World 2. Over the past year and a half, we have devoted our efforts to preparing for the construction of World 1. So there are still many unresolved issues." Mr. Lee pondered. Even if there are 10 experts from various fields around the world acting at this stage, the business scale and self-entrustment of customers are constantly expanding. All of these have exposed the Longevity Club to other secret organizations. "Sir, but is our radius of action too large?" "Of course, it has covered the whole world," Sir Han said. "Rapid development is not necessarily a good thing." "It's really troublesome," Ms. Du said. always worrying like that will easily cause wrinkles. In short, everything I said is a practical problem. I hope sir can consider it. I will seriously consider this issue. Due Van held a mirror to look at herself and thought, there are really wrinkles. Why not just make up again, also because this way did not maintain sir. Good boy, how's the situation? According to the news from the secret team, more and more members of the organization are approaching Tich-Do City. According to current information, except for powerful countries like E-Country, there are also some small national organizations that want to get fat grass. The recent actions of the Longevity Club are indeed too big. The intention of this is that Mr. Lee's bored life said these customers seem to go from this achievement to another achievement, coming to them makes them completely unaware that they have been exposed early. If it weren't for the miniature world as a guarantee of time, I'm afraid that many plans before would continue to be shelved. Good boy sir just assigned all those guys and arranged for them to stay quiet for a while. Make sure they can't find any traces, understand? I promise I will make those people unable to find a single hair strand, okay? And those restless people, pay attention to them, as long as there is no major move, don't act rashly. Sir, rest assured, I will go right away. Mr. Lee sighed in relief thinking, fortunately Manhwa is more reliable than ever. Manhwa hasn't gone anywhere yet, my intention is to protect customers well, do you understand? That one if not then what? Yeah, no problem. Mr. Lee pondered if he understood why he showed that expression. Or is it because my expression has a problem? So I'm going now sir. I'm really going, don't call anymore, okay there's plenty of time, we can time travel again, cross into that era, then we can go recruit a group of top scientists of real humanity, a large number of scientific geniuses shining in modern times. Hello, arrange all the information about the scientists from 1700 to 1900, and then give it to me. Understood? I need all the information as per your request, all the information on the scientists from 1700 to 1900. Oh my God, there's so much. So, I won't be able to sleep for the next few days. It seems that in the future, one should not casually use the term everything. Just listening to it, the secretary is trying not to laugh. As Mr. Lee has noticed, today she looks very pleased, it's quite a hassle. No need to pretend anymore, the initial plan was to wait for you to admit defeat before I took action. Here is the index of the documents that I compiled myself after reading all the materials. Please have a look, sir, have you reviewed everything? How is it possible? Actually, normally, I have a habit of reading history books. So, the information you requested this time is in my daily knowledge bank, I just needed to quickly review and then compile it. Sir, this time you can say it was a bullseye, isn't it correct to say it was not a bullseye? Mr. Lee, considering that you have already built 2 underground bases and have established and developed a miniature world, it would be even better if you could first arrange a little structure this time. If saying the previous trip was a mistake, this time I must learn from experience and must be better prepared. The guide is very professional, interesting. About 300 years ago, if he died as a historical timeline, then the time I have to go back is roughly. Talent is very important, but those who can ascend to the throne value character more. Not really? Another one pursues the path of being a loyal minister, although his fame and strength are a bit inferior, but he is loyal and dedicated to the court. Also not lucky. These two are a bit interesting. The young cat when young had ambition, outstanding talent but was arrogant and domineering. In the end, because of his great achievements he was sentenced to death by the emperor. In his later years the first thing is to find a citizen of heaven, an outstanding general who can be loyal to him at the same time can tightly control the base station troops for geniuses from the past to adapt here and live in seclusion. Need to build a new one. Mr. Lee was pleased and said, go on a business trip with me. On a business trip? Just enough to prepare yourself. I studied a few foreign languages when I was still in school, but I can't say that I'm fluent. I'm somewhat lacking in that regard. You're studying literature, right? Yes, that's right. What about foreign languages? How are they going? The little one pouted and shouted, "Yeah, got it." The next day, Mr. Lee brought a bodyguard and a secretary for a business trip, stopping in front of a hot pot restaurant. Whether the hot pot here is spicy or not, it has everything. Everyone should try eating here. Let's have grilled fish. It smells of garlic and has a slight spicy taste, Mr. Lee calmly said. History can wait for us, sir. Shall we start right away? Rest assured, sir, there will be absolutely no mistakes. We have to calculate very accurately. This food street was built on the old site of a military camp from a few hundred years ago. Brave man, do you want to eat hot pot? Mr. Lee and his two companions went to eat hot pot in the area that allowed him to time travel. The pot was boiling vigorously, and it seemed that his companions were not very comfortable, perhaps because it was their first time dining with the boss. He complained about the slow service, wanting to eat a bit before leaving, but the service here was really slow. Sir, how long will you be gone this time? Time travel cannot be as precise as a ruler. I can only try to minimize the time difference as much as possible. It may be a whole month before we return, or we might return before the food is even cooked. When I was young, the first time he took me on a time-traveling adventure, it sounded terrifying as hell. Isn't there a huge time difference? So boss, when will you start the operation right now? It's here, but there are too many people watching the boss. Perhaps you should, oh damn. He had time-traveled with my assistant and stepped into the space of time flow, so this is what time travel is, an overwhelming whirlpool. Don't touch anything, we are in the flow of time. Yes, boss, if she gets lost, even I won't be able to help her. A yellow light circle appeared, and the boss looked to see something on the other side. A time travel gate. When will we go through it? So, naturally, on the other side of the gate is our destination, 1745, a flag of some country, and in a mountain camp in 1745, a guard was sleeping. Yes, he got hit on the head with a piece of wood. This lazy rat, how dare he sleep, doesn't he want to live anymore? Be vigilant, head guard, spare me, the young general, because the great general's illness is troublesome enough. What would be the consequence if something happens to you now? Yes, I promised your sister to bring you back alive. You don't want to be stuck here for the rest of your life, right? The guard didn't bother listening to the old man. He saw something that seemed very frightening. Head guard, there is a ghost behind my elder brother. Have they never seen the handsome and beautiful ghosts of the modern era? The guy still wants to joke around with me, hasn't he slept enough? It's not real that his whole body is engulfed in black. You keep talking, do you still dare to speak? Although I can accelerate our time, we cannot sit idle like this. In their eyes, we appeared suddenly like demons. Hurry up and get dressed, we need to quickly find the general. Hey, you're still standing there, Mr. Lee, don't peek, okay? Hey, what are you thinking? Yeah, good. I don't mean that. If you want to look, just pause the time. It's fine, Mr. Lee is not like that. Hurry up and get dressed, okay? According to historical music records, the old general led the troops to suppress the Man tribe's rebellion in Lu country, then accidentally got shot and died. Is Mr. Lee too late? Don't worry, I am here. Tuan Ni, it is your father here. I am not going to last much longer. After I go, you should let the wind out so that those funeral rogues know, right? Your father is just a musician. How could it be that the candle in the room suddenly went out during the day? They must want to help them save energy. Why burn candles during the day? You might as well freeze time to avoid people running around outside. What is it? Mr. Lee stepped in and called me Mr. Lee, coming to worship the music room, old general. Who are you to dare to barge into the camp? I am Mr. Lee, you can call me. It seems I don't want to talk, start calling someone, catch this guy for me. The old music man lying on the bed asked, "Who is there?" He shouted, spitting bullets, "No one, come in." Mr. Lee found it annoying, so he took out his watch to show him accelerating time by 100 times. The watch illuminated the entire tent. That guy seeing this also drew his sword, calling Mr. Lee a demon, but halfway through drawing, it turned completely black. Mr. Lee felt that we are not on the same level to converse. The old man lying on the bed, seeing this, couldn't do anything. Tuan, what happened to you? I am so handsome, and you're calling me a demon? The little girl hiding behind said, doing such things in front of them seems a bit impolite. Not to mention, they are historical figures, sir. No problem. The historical records of General Nak Tuan are quite limited. In fact, he disappeared without a trace a few years after his father passed away. Therefore, your actions now, sir, will not change history, right? Not only that, but I even believe that everything I am doing now has already happened in history. All future outcomes are the ultimate results of actions caused at this moment. I am about to rescue a large number of scientists, breaking free from the chains of lifespan, which can be considered a great contribution to the scientific community. Who are you after all? I am just a time merchant, able to return to the world freely. You can call me Mr. Lee. Sir? It seems he is angry because of a man cutting his hair. It looks like Mr. Lee forgot to get a haircut and get dressed before coming here, really big disrespectful. Hey, young man, Mr. Lee. Do you know that cutting hair arbitrarily can be punishable by death? I can even sentence you to death for that. Exposed to capital punishment? Execution. Mr. Lee doesn't like it much. Immediately, using the old trick, he took out the watch to let the old man see his own information. In front of him, the musician Trong, age 69, had only 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 39 seconds of life left. Here is a devil claiming lives. What a pity. The truth is exactly the opposite. Mr. Lee was afraid he might fade away, so no contract was needed, and immediately boosted his lifespan. Mr. Lee and the girl watched him regain his vigor. He, with his eyes shining, his body levitating. His scream echoed throughout the mountain range. He got up from his bed, panting heavily. He looked around. He was alive again. You people are not demons. I am just a small businessman. All I trade in is time, just at the right moment. Time, is there really such a strange person in the world? But the wound from the arrow shot, miraculously healed. What is your purpose? I heard that the general is honest and straightforward, so I specifically came here to do business with him. The old general stood there foolishly, then time returned to normal. The candle holder was cut off by his sword. If Mr. Lee hadn't stopped time and stayed there, who knows how many pieces he would be in now. He was surprised, not knowing where the person had disappeared to. The subordinates heard the noise and hurried in. General, what happened? He said that there were 2 people just now, but the soldiers didn't see anyone at all. Young general, wasn't it just you next to the old general? Speaking of which, he turned to look at his father, who suddenly got up and exercised healthily. The wounds on his body were completely healed. And he teased his son about the good candle holder. Why did he break it? Father, they didn't hurt you. All right, you guys go ahead. I have something to talk to the young general about. Those 2 are not monsters, they are gods. His son was dumbfounded. My father must have just finished playing with toys. People in our tribe have to die. Look at me, you still don't understand? Tell me, the changes of dynasties in this world, has there ever been a dynasty that has never changed its territory? His son heard this and froze for the second time. My old man is really crazy. He interrupted his father's words carefully to avoid revealing anything. Indeed, we are of the Yu family line. We have been loyal to the country and the emperor. I have devoted myself wholeheartedly and have received the emperor's trust. Like this time, stepping out from Ghost Gate Pass, someone told me that outside of our kingdom and beyond our territory are all people with wolf hearts. He remembered his conversation with Mr. Lee. Was everything he said true? As a businessman, of course time has the ability to transcend time, past and present, and foresee the future. I have seen many scenes that ordinary people cannot easily see. Moreover, General Yu has died once already and still has a lot of time left in his lifespan, 100 years. This is my gift to you, 100 years? There's a chance to live again. General Yu, wouldn't you want to think about it once and go out to see how vast the world is? According to what Mr. Lee said, I will use these 100 years first to see what happens to our kingdom in the future. I understand. I want to remind General Yu, you can use time freely, but the reputation of General Yu, you have to die here and return to reality. He said to his son, Tuan Ni, I have something to tell you. A few days later at an inn, he met Mr. Lee in disguise. How is it? Has the general arranged everything? Yes, sir, it's all arranged. General Yu seemed quite confused, and understandably so. General Yu is respected by everyone, and those people must be very reluctant to let him go. Sir, you are mistaken, Yu Zhong is dead, now I am just an ordinary person. Tuan Ni is the child I value the most, there will be no problem with him there. Sir, what should we do next? General Yu doesn't need to worry, my people have arranged everything, this world will be big if we say it's big, it will be small if we say it's small. The place you are going to can be said to be the end of the world, but this can help you escape trouble. Build me a secret base that is very solid and inviolable. After that, they looked at each other without saying anything. General Yu was still doubtful. I ask you not to return to the court within 200 years. Can you do it? According to what you said, 100 years later, there will be a great disaster in the court that makes me restless. Mr. Lee spoke up to stop him. There is one thing I hope you understand, only one person cannot stir up the great current of history. Even if you intervene, the direction of future time will still flow on, one person cannot change this decaying and rotten world. The court will have to go through a great drought, but on the barren land, weeds will grow strong again, and your task is to plan and secretly develop in the dark, shaking the direction of the world. Therefore, no matter how the world situation changes, we can still use top talents to restore the glory of the court. These are your future tasks. 97 years later go to Country D to find a special coat chemist, 100 years later find physicist Liu Mo, 113 years later find biologist Michael Squirrel. Physics? Chemistry? What are these? This is something that you have to learn and understand by yourself. You still have plenty of time. After giving his instructions, he also set off. Mr. Lee breathed a sigh of relief, phew, finally done. 100 years later, there will be Truong Tak intervening in the court. So let this old man focus on recruiting talents and not interfere with history anymore. If we intervene too much it will cause time to collapse. By then it would be a waste of life. At this time Tan Ao Su appeared, Sir. General Yu has boarded the ship already and the boat owner has taken care of everything. Every day here not only costs me 45 days but also carries an additional 108 days of Tan Ao Su. People who do not belong here like us will always be excluded by the time rules of this era. Mr. Lee looked at his lifespan chart. Thanks to creating the first world his current lifespan is 30 million years, sir. So next we will travel to the next era because we still have plenty of time left. Come on, let's head west and explore this era's world. In the winter of 1758 in Country E, on the snow, there was a footprint accompanied by a trail of blood. A person dressed discreetly like a ninja, covering their face so it was unclear whether they were male or female. They suddenly turned around to look behind. There was a group of people riding horses, holding weapons rushing towards them. Their faces were bright, their smiles shining white, probably advertising for some toothpaste brand. They took out their bows and arrows, aimed at the person and said, "Damn traitor, you must die." The arrow was flying towards them. The mysterious person ducked to avoid the arrow. When the hat fell off revealing blonde hair, it turned out to be a girl. The two of them cursed each other. This idiot should let her live. That bitch is the leader of the rebels, worth 1,000 gold coins. Hurry up this time. If you can't do it, I will sell you guys for 1,000 gold coins. The leader quickly looked at that bitch. She ran into the forest. What long legs she has, but here one can easily lose their way. The leader didn't beat around the bush and swung his sword to cut the talkative one's throat. Always talking too much deserves death. The others were scared and hurried deeper into the forest. Boss, the footprints disappear here. What a cunning fox she is. Can't find her. The leader switched to screaming mode. By DAC Fontaine, stop hiding. Think about your murdered comrades. Do you know any of them? Did they kneel before me when they were about to die? At this point, he saw a figure jumping down from a tree very quickly. One of them was killed instantly. Another one saw his comrade killed and stood still in shock for 5 seconds. Before he could understand what was happening, she jumped in with a knife and finished him off. The leader saw her slaughter his 2 subordinates and was delighted. That's good too. I can take all these 1,000 gold coins myself. Why Van? You are a traitor selling your friends for glory. In hell there must be a place for you. We have been in heaven already. The price list given by your Winter Palace gentleman is my heaven. No more talking. From beginning to end I never admitted to being a hypocrite as the leader of the rebels. While they were arguing with each other, there was a bolt of lightning from the sky and someone else appeared there too. Mr. Lee and Miss Tan Ao Su appeared. The leader saw this and was scared stiff, falling to the ground screaming, "This person came down from heaven, is he a god?" Mr. Lee breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, it seems we just arrived in time. The location data seems very accurate indeed. The leader was scared and asked, "Who are you really? Are you a god or a demon?" Mr. Lee didn't bother answering. He turned to call by DAC Fontaine's name. He didn't react at all when he heard it. Mr. Lee continued to look at the remaining person and called by DAC Fontaine's name again. The girl heard it and replied, "Who are you that knows my name?" It seems it's you." He turned to look at the leader again. "As for you, it's a threat to me." Mr. Lee sucked his life force, causing him to age rapidly. His face wrinkled and turned into a dry corpse, ending his life in an instant. Mr. Lee received 50 years of his life, still having more than 50 years of life left. This person really lives a long time. Looking back, the 2 girls were scared and pale. Then, the girl took them to a house in the snow forest. She drank a jug of wine heartily, drinking wine as if it was water. It was really refreshing. "Only pure vodka can help me survive the accident." Mr. Lee sitting next to her had to admire her. Taking a sip, lost half a pound. Truly a warrior race. "So you two are gods from somewhere else? Why do you want to save a loser like me?" The girl fired off some gibberish that Mr. Lee didn't understand at all, but his secretary Tan Ao Su did and responded accordingly. "My boss is actually a time merchant. I am his assistant." The girl was surprised. "Time? How is he a merchant?" "Indeed, we travel through time, looking for all kinds of great heroes. And I didn't expect that a heroic character, leading more than 50,000 peasants in rebellion, breaking into the imperial palace, could be a brave female warrior." Tan Ao Su translated, for Mr. Lee to understand, "This name is her brother's name. He was brutally tortured to death by the landlord. She impersonated him and led the peasants to avenge their master. Later, when she became famous, more and more oppressed people came to her for help. In this way, the rebel army gradually emerged and grew stronger. The people hoped that she could replace the position of that tyrant emperor and become their little father." Little father, what is that? At that time it was a special term for the emperor, but when her identity was revealed by traitors, they looked at her as if they were looking at a witch being burned at stake. The girl said something, but Mr. Li didn't understand the meaning of this sentence in their empire. There used to be more than one outstanding queen, and she probably just lacked a little luck and help. Help from you? You seem to be a complete loser now, but with my help you can completely revive your organization and become the queen of the underworld. She thought about it for a while before finally speaking. So how much does it cost? Mr. Li replied, what I want is talent, of course, to become one of the powerful countries in the future world. The number of talents in country E is small, but they are all influential scientists who have made great contributions to the development of the world. The only thing is that in that backward empire there are power struggles that completely obscure scientific progress, and my requirement is that you will find those losers who have offended the emperor and pull them into my club. So where do I need to go to find those people? At this point the secretary quickly lit a lamp and ran to get the car. This is our list, which is very detailed. The girl took it and looked at it but didn't understand anything. Don't worry. I will prepare suitable resources for you, and there will also be people coordinating your actions in the future. Okay, so we have an agreement today. Because you saved me, I also have to work hard to repay your kindness. The deal seems successful. The next step is for me to help you look younger and more attractive. At this moment, Mr. Li uses his ability to buff her lifespan, making her look much younger. Her current lifespan is 300 years. Upon seeing her lifespan, she is astonished. Mr. Li then explains, all of this is a deposit. I will grant you a lifespan far beyond that of an ordinary person. Seeing all this, she believes that Mr. Li is a god. Mr. Li further states that with his abilities, he can lead tens of thousands of rebel armies, conquer fortresses, and slowly advance over a long period of time. Anna hopes that in the future she can respond to my call and fulfill her promise. I will definitely do it, she promises. As soon as she finishes promising, Mr. Li pulls out his watch and disappears, leaving only the words, I am on the other side. Time waits for you. In the blink of an eye, they are gone. She shows determination, believing that 300 years is enough. Then, Mr. Li takes his younger sister for a walk. She exclaims joyfully. The scenery from 300 years ago is so beautiful. Even the air feels much fresher, it's relaxing. It's like seeing a tub of popsicle sticks when I was little. That's right, the world's major changes have not yet truly appeared here, industrial facilities have not been established yet, so we can still see such beauty. The progress of civilization has cost us beauty, it's such a pity. So we must carefully plan to strengthen our collection work. So sir, where are we going next? Mr. Li is hesitating whether to go to country Y or country G when suddenly he has an idea. I have a good idea. What? Mr. Li looks mysterious. That place might still be a wasteland now. The scene shifts to somewhere else, it's unclear what era it is. A group of people are patrolling, everyone is dressed tightly and their faces are covered. A boy watches them intently. One of them notices and says, Hey kid, it's curfew time now, go home. Then he turns away, not forgetting to curse at the country bumpkins. Everyone hears this clearly. There's a wanted man with a bounty of 200 pounds, he's a traitor who has fled to the neighboring area named Steve Hun. He participated in the rebellion in La City and is an escaped criminal. Anyone who knows about this and doesn't report it will be charged with concealment. We advise you not to do anything foolish if you don't want to be hanged. Behind the group is a man who turns back to look behind him. There's a woman hiding in a corner of the house. Later, the woman carries a basket in her hand and goes into an old house. She opens the door and enters. Inside is a blond man. This is the wanted man. She opens her mouth and says, Mr. Hun, I brought you some bread and also some wine. Thank you, ma'am, he replies while listening for soldiers outside. How's your wound? It's basically healed now. Are you really a vet? My little brother learns things very quickly. Can you tell me more about what happened then? They really killed many of your people, didn't they? The man eats while answering, "Didn't I just tell you yesterday?" Then he hears something outside and signals, "Girl, keep quiet." He slowly walks towards the door and looks outside. "Mr. Hun, what's wrong? It seems my location has been exposed." "So, did something happen to Line Gain?" "Don't worry too much, there was no noise on the way, so he should be safe." "Perhaps you were being followed." "I'm sorry, Mr. Hun. I'll help you distract them, don't be foolish. You're practically committing suicide by doing that. So what should we do?" "You and your family should leave town tonight, they've got their eyes on you. I'll try to deal with them on the east side of town. You guys take this time to escape in the opposite direction. But remember, definitely do not take the main road." "Yes, sir." Then he starts to move, hopping around like a bird on the rooftops. He runs from one house to another to attract attention, very quickly. A masked man points a gun at him, a gunshot rings out, but the man misses his shot. Then more people quickly join in. The mixed-race man is there. Hun peeks out to look at them and rewards the first one who runs up with a candy wrapper. As for this filthy stray dog, there's no need to show mercy. Yes, who's talking nonsense? Isn't this what his mother said last night? At this moment, there are two people walking on the road above, holding a gold watch in their hand that money can't buy. And the owner is Mr. Lee himself. The target's situation doesn't seem too good. If you don't make a move now, this person is too interesting, let's see what happens next. Moreover, his time of death hasn't come yet. Jackman wants to watch a presentation film and edit the script, right? I wonder where he stole that horse. Riding into the night, it seems like he's left them far behind. Good run. Did you have fun just now when I helped you get out? Then next I'll need your help. So he looks back towards the distant hills. He must have noticed something because then he turns around and a bullet comes flying towards him. Not sure if it hit him or not, but he fell off the horse. On top of the mountain appear many people lying in ambush. He's busy looking at them while others are being bitten by the horse and pulled up. Oh, the horse threw everything. He flies up and lands on the horse's back. "You just lie on my back and hold on tight, leaving the running to me." The horse gets angry and starts puffing smoke. The horse starts running again while the others yell for it to stop. "Stop there. Stop there, you bastard." If those guys knew how to speak horse language, maybe the horse would stop. "Hurry up. Hurry up." Hearing this, the horse pushes itself harder and starts running, then jumps up and flies over their heads. What are they using guns for? Close-range weapons? The young man experiences flying for the first time. He screams loudly as he jumps over many people, which probably scares them. Ha! Open your mouth wide and watch as a horse jumps over you. Run! Run! Light up flares. Quickly light up flares. Report this to those ahead of us. Galloping fast with hooves clattering on the road surface, he owes his life to this horse, so he starts chatting with it. "I think I owe you a beer, whether or not it depends on whether you can drink it or not." While running, suddenly the horse stops. Dust pollution makes him cover his nose and ask, "Horse, why did you suddenly stop? What's wrong with you?" Did the horse sense something? Then it runs towards where it was looking intently. "What's going on? I have to admit, you're a great horse." The horse goes to this bush. "My friend. This place is a bit empty, how can we hide here?" The horse moves forward and eats grass. Munch munch. He thinks the horse is leading him to a hiding place. Who would have thought the horse saw delicious grass? Are you kidding me? Do you know we're on the run right now? The horse seems to say, "I'm hungry, I need to eat first to have the strength to run." I've never seen a horse so obsessed with wild fruit. You're really something. Just now you were praising the wonderful horse and now you're scolding it. This person likes to joke around, it feels a bit unreliable. I don't think this person is really unskilled, just a bit unlucky. That embarrassment was just a misunderstanding. Are you full yet? Let's keep running if we don't want to die. I guess you're still single. I know a group of mixed-race female horses. There are many males chasing after them. Come and enjoy my treat. You get what I mean? He's flirting with the horse when he hears someone calling his name. Steve Hun, someone walks up and says, I have to say your escape technique couldn't be worse. All right. Eat slowly, you stupid horse. Find a girlfriend in your next life. There's no roof here for you to jump up and down on. There's no way you can escape. No way. I'll try too. It's dawn. On one side there's a person, on the other side there are his comrades with guns. They look at each other, one has a cold face while the other is smiling. Who will win? The old man starts speaking and orders his subordinates to shoot him. They hear this and start shooting. The leader laughs, then quickly stops. He opens his eyes wide and opens his mouth. The man was nowhere to be seen. Only his horse remained, grazing, with a few smoking candies on the ground. Where did the dog go? The horse is still here, but how did the man escape? Does anyone know what happened? Perhaps Mr. Lee secretly gave him a second to find a hiding place. However, the leader was sweating profusely from his spiritual thoughts. It's impossible, completely impossible. How can a person dodge bullets? A soldier approached the horse and patted its buttocks with a satisfied smile on his face. The horse, not being so easygoing, kicked him in the face out of anger. He had never been crushed in his life, but now he had been kicked by a horse and his face was distorted, losing several teeth. Be careful, the horse has lost control due to harassment. Get out of the way. The others were too noisy and also got kicked by the horse. After kicking, the horse started running and the team leader was out of breath. These two beasts seemed to be made from the same mold. The bastards chased after me into the forest. The man was sitting on a tree branch. Had he escaped death? Not completely, not yet. Those guys couldn't be that slow, or I was getting faster. Maybe the young man didn't know he had protection. Handsome Mr. Lee was watching. I bet they partied last night and drank innocently. Ah, my horse friend is here. The horse came to the tree where the young man was hiding and sat down. Is it true that horses in real life know how to sit like this? The man could only wonder in silence. Could it be that the horse is sulking at him? Then, some people came chasing after them. They saw the horse sitting like a puppy, its round buttocks and white thighs. Look at that damn horse. What on earth is it doing? It's incomprehensible. Good for you now, horse. If that man tries to run away, he will be led by you to those guys. The horse knew that people were coming after it in time and glared up at them, gathering its strength to kick the tree hard enough to shake it from top to bottom. They saw it and began to blame the horse's kindness. This horse is really crazy. A moment later, a man fell from the tree. Wait, it's Steve. He screamed and then a face appeared in front of him. The two others turned around and saw that their comrade had been killed and their two teammates were lying on the ground. Because Mr. Lee gave him a trial hack, he felt his power was terrifying. He looked at his hand and commented on himself, it's not wrong here, it's not an illusion. My speed is extremely fast, what happened to me? Elsewhere, Mr. Lee's secretary assistant stood behind a tree watching him perform. It seems Mr. Lee also hacked for his secretary assistant. He seemed to be panicking because of Mr. Lee's time acceleration for him to get used to it. That's just 2 times time acceleration. What he will have to face in the future is much more terrifying than this. Returning to the town, there is a place in the town where you can wear a rope necklace. It's public and each person can only try once in their lifetime, and it's only for those with power. They force people to wear the necklace, and there is also an option to wear it on both legs. Just kidding, this girl's name is Tamley. She brought food and wine to the wanted man, Steve Hun. She was blindfolded and beaten when she didn't see the road and accidentally stepped on a female dog. I think I have announced before, anyone who harbors rebels will face my brother. But it seems that I have overestimated you, descendants of exiles and slaves. I don't know what gratitude is. They took off the girl's headscarf. The spectators all recognized Miss Atlee. All of you, look here, this is the end of a rebel. Send her on her way. The girl was desperate, tears streaming down her face. A soldier saw something from afar and started pointing and telling the leader, "Sir, look quickly." A man was riding a horse. And it was the comedic horse that liked to sulk at the lucky young man who teased it. He wore a serious hat, and the townspeople also turned around to look curiously. The leader also opened his mouth wide, unable to believe that the wanted man had come to him. He dismounted from his horse, with 2 candies on his shoulder, 2 directions, 2 drinks. The girl felt cold. "Mr. Hun, so what did you teach her?" The leader looked at Mr. Hun and could only remain silent. Maybe he was thinking, or the author didn't have any dialogue yet. This guy came here to deliver his life himself, huh? He must be stupid not to see that Mr. Hun brought 2 candies. Mr. Hun heard him muttering and then ran over at twice the speed. But Mr. Lee's hat also fell off. Seeing this, the leader started shouting, ordering them to open fire and kill him. The sound of candy exploding echoed around, and Mr. Hun could dodge the candy bullets which flew like laser beams. It was time for him to show off his skill of giving out free candy. Once he shot it out, it hit right on target and exploded into a free candy for someone from Mr. Hun. His teammate saw him getting candy, so he opened his eyes wide. Mr. Hun fell to the ground, bent down and threw the candy he had just shot into the sky, then pulled out another one aiming at the guy who had opened his eyes wide earlier. That guy was too close, so when people threw candy at him he got blown away. Mr. Hun turned back and took out a mini candy gun pointing at the leader. But it seems that the leader is tough. It seems like you can really dodge bullets, huh? But can this girl do it? The girl screamed in fear. I advise you not to touch people around you, yeah. I can also say straight out that either you die or she disappears. You can only choose one. It turns out that the leader was just buying time for his soldier hiding on the roof. He was peeking at Mr. Hun, but his attention was only on the leader and that girl. Do you know what the biggest problem with you guys is? You always like to play the hero. That's your disastrous heroism. It's the worst thing. Hun was shot from behind, right? The gunshot rang out, Hun froze, and the leader's face changed from a sinister smile to surprise. Sweating, the people also turned to look at the soldier on the roof, not understanding why he fell to the ground. There are only 2 possibilities. 1, the author made a mistake. 2, Mr. Lee used a hack just now. The rooftop soldier was just an illusion of Hun, so when he shot, he was only shooting at a shadow. Returning to the story, after a few seconds, that man finally fell face down on the ground. The leader, who was pointing a gun at the girl, also didn't understand what was happening. What the fuck? The shooter was a man hiding in an alleyway. He is the brother of the girl who was taken hostage. Hun turned back and thanked him in his thoughts. Thank you, Line Gang. The leader who had just threatened the hostage yelled at Hun, you dare to kill my soldier. You slowly rebels. Hun was angry, his eyes red, and he rushed towards that leader. Seeing this, he tightly held onto the girl's neck. He didn't hold her tightly at all, he couldn't even hold onto a girl properly. He was even robbed of the girl from his arms by that young man named Hun. His gun also fell, and for some reason his face twisted. Probably because Hun punched him. Then he casually took away the girl. He fell heavily onto the floor. After that, he lifted his head. Red snot and saliva flowed out. Then he looked around and said he was that leader. Looking at a man holding a girl stolen from his arms. Standing on a hanging platform. And those others, from spectators to citizens to soldiers, all asked, how did he do it? How could he do it? His speed is very fast, how is it possible? After that, Hun on the platform shouted, witness of that leader, ah. Those cattle on the ground with people, oh people here. These guys, these dogs like to rob us. Also threaten us, rob our labor force. It's these guys who kill lovers, shoot girlfriends, slaughter wives, skewer our relatives. Turn our homes and countries, our towns into hell. Always have to live in fear, have to listen to these dogs' words. We were born as slaves of these dogs. The North has started to rebel against them. So we can't continue to endure being threatened by these people without doing anything to fight back. Right now, if you have horns, then take horns. If you have guns, then take guns. If you have spears, then take spears. We must stand up against them. Only revolution can free us from slavery chains. Take up arms and skewer them, kill them, go crazy, shoot them for me, kill all of them. The people and several soldiers heard the dog give orders, so they took up their guns and pointed their guns at those unarmed damn civilians. There are too many people, it's not good. It's too late before they fire.